I got ripped off. Big time. And now I can talk about it. Because why not? I tried to script this video and it failed miserably. But if you follow Tom Ailing, you might have seen his video about the book forger on eBay. I'll stick a link to that in the pinned comments because honestly, watch his version for the full breakdown. But yeah, I'm kind of in that video and kind of not. I'm one of the people. I got caught. So I'm Darth James. I'm an idiot. Welcome. Like, subscribe. I've lost money. And if you want early access and all of the jazz that comes along with that, as well as a podcast, check out memberships and Patreon. If you want my written essays, you're welcome to check out Substack. Okay, let's talk about it. And I'm going to say it plainly because there's no point dressing it up. I bought what I thought was a signed copy of To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and it wasn't real. And I knew something felt off, at the time. Of course, kind of, it felt too good to be true. But honestly, the dopamine kicks in, and it feels like you found something rare, something special, like you've beaten the system a little bit. Because that's the trick, isn't it? It's never obviously fake, it's just believable enough. The listing looked clean, the seller had great reviews, like proper, solid reviews. The kind of reviews that make you drop your guard a bit. And I always say, don't trust reviews. I've said that for years. I should have followed my own advice, but I got excited. I walked straight into this. Not completely blindly, but enough that I tripped over and hit my head along the way. And I'm not going to say how much money I lost, because honestly, that's the part that makes it sting a little bit more than it should. And I'm not talking like life-ruining money, but it's enough that you feel it. And I'm also going to say, in hindsight, this book was too cheap. But, it's that moment where you're like, why did I do that? But it's not really about the book, the money I've lost anyway. It's like the idea of it. It wasn't because it's just a book, it was that book. It was To Kill a Mockingbird, a book that I love, a book that my grandmother introduced me to. One of my favourite novels. And it was supposed to be something meaningful. Something you keep. Maybe you pass it down or one day, or very least it sits on your shelf and feels like it matters a bit more than the rest. And now it's just a really awkward reminder that I got played. And I keep going back to that moment I bought it. You know, that moment when it arrives and you open it and you just sort of sit with it and you look at it and you're looking at the signature and thinking, I found it, I found it, I found it. But then hindsight kicks in. The signature looked too clean, too new. I ignored it. Because you want it to be real. And you've already emotionally decided that it's real. And that's the thing nobody talks about with stuff like this. You don't just buy an object, you buy the story behind it. You buy the idea that somewhere along the line Harper Lee held this book in her hands and signed it, and somehow it ended up with you. And that's a powerful little narrative. Turns out it's complete nonsense. Apparently it was bought on eBay from another seller, a fake signature put on it, and Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. And this apparently wasn't a one-off. From what Tom's uncovered, this person was buying secondhand books and just adding signatures, selling them on. Over and over again, the reviews are suspect and there's a whole thing to it. Which, I gotta be honest, is kind of terrifying how simple it was. No elaborate schemes, no Ocean 11 plan, just a pen and a bit of confidence. And now, it looks like it's serious enough that the police are involved, the London Metropolitan Police, from what I've heard, which is surreal. Because you never think you're gonna even... You're never gonna think you're even loosely connected to something like that. You think scams are something that happens to other people, less careful people, less cynical people, people who don't sit on the internet all day talking about this stuff. And yet, here we are. And I think that's the part that still... Well, I'm still slightly embarrassed by. I'm not even angry at this point. That comes and goes. The embarrassment sucks because I know better. Or at least I thought I did. I've spent years online. I've seen dodgy publishing stuff, fake hype, manipulated numbers, all of it. And somehow this one thing came along and it just switched that part of my brain off. It was too good to be true, way too cheap for what it was. And maybe it didn't even just switch off. Maybe I just ignored the flashing red light because it was convenient to ignore it, because it was a great deal, because I found something. And yeah, it turns out if something feels too good to be true, it probably is. Which is the most boring advice in the world until you're the one learning it in a frighteningly expensive way. So, if there's anything useful in this video, and I don't know if there is, it's probably just not even be careful, just because something says, everyone says be careful, right? It's more, don't assume you're the exception. Don't assume you're the one person that can spot everything, because clearly I'm not. And now I've got a fake signature sitting in my house. Which ironically would, if the book didn't have that signature in, it would be more valuable. Which I don't even know what to do with, by the way. Do I keep it as a reminder? I've already contacted eBay and they're not playing ball. I might have to get a solicitor involved because, yikes. Now it's just kind of sitting on my desk, pretending it never happened, and genuinely I don't know what to do with it yet. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So go watch Tom's video, if you want the full story, because he's actually doing the work digging into this. I've just contributed to the evidence pile, apparently, which is not the kind of contribution I was aiming for this year. Anyway, that's it. Just me losing money in the most predictable way possible, and then coming on here to tell you about it. Which, to be fair, is very on brand at this point, so you have every right to laugh at me, because if I don't laugh, I'll cry about it. See you in the next one.